We got another breaking news that has just came out of MLS, and just like the last breaking news that I talked about in today's video, this is also a least surprising news that have just happened, and that of course is the LA Galaxy has officially fired Guillermo Barros Schelotto after the team suffered that 5-2 loss that they had yesterday against the Portland Timbers. And the only thing I have to say about that really is that, finally happened. I mean, it kind of took a little bit longer than I thought it was going to happen, mainly because I've been always talking about how it was pretty clear that this Galaxy team was not playing for Schelotto. Like, the first sign of this team clearly showing that they're not playing for Schelotto, and that Schelotto has just completely lost this team, was all the way back when they lost to the Timbers 6-3 at home, and that it was further emphasized when they, of course, lost 4-0 to the San Jose Earthquakes, and that when you lose 4-0 in a Cali Clasico like that, while the Cali Clasico might not be as a big thing as it is in the past, that is still kind of a fireable offense. The fact that you would just get embarrassed like that at home like that, and I thought that was kind of the moment when they decided to really pull the trigger and basically say that there's no way in the world he's going to continue coaching this team. Well, he decided to let him continue to coach this team to see maybe if they can turn it around, and I think after what we saw in that last game against the Timbers, I was already going to say that during today's video, when I finished talking about the Timbers versus Galaxy game, that I would not be surprised if the Galaxy are going to announce the firing of Guillermo Schelotto as soon as today, because this just cannot continue. You can clearly see the team is not playing for him, and that he's just completely run out of ideas of how to actually get this team competitive, and it looks like they, of course, have finally decided to do that. Now, that being said, as much as I know that a lot of the criticism in terms of how bad the Galaxy have been this season has put on Schelotto, and in some way the way that I kind of say it sounds like the reason why the Galaxy are this bad is because of the fact that Schelotto basically made him that bad. Well, that isn't really actually entirely true. I mean, I feel like in some way the Galaxy is kind of in the same situation as what the Quakes were back a couple of weeks ago and back in September after they lost 5-0 against the Rapids. Remember back when I said that, well, I understand that Almeida might potentially be fired by the team and that he hasn't done a good job in terms of organizing the team, and it seemed like the team pretty much quit on him. I don't think he's really the biggest problem with this team. The biggest problem, obviously, back then when I mentioned about the Quakes, is got to be the front office, and how there's got to be some big changes that is going on with the front office, and also the ownership, where it's clear that John Fisher wasn't actually going to willing to spend the money and invest on this team to make us be successful in the future. This is the same case for the Galaxy. I mean, I think there is no doubt that besides the fact that Schelotto is now fired, there should be some other high-rank official in that LA Galaxy front office that could potentially be fired after the season. I mean, starting with their general manager, Dennis DeClose. I know that he has only been with the Galaxy for 2 years, but ever since he's become the general manager of this team, and he promised that this team will get back to where it was when they were winning trophies early in this decade, well, early in the last decade, that just have not happened. Instead, they have just looked like they have gone backwards ever since that, and that you could say that he could definitely be on the chopping block as the next high-rank official from this Galaxy team that could potentially be fired. And then you also look at their staff member that you have just kind of really holding this team back. And finally, obviously looking at Chris Klein as their owners, and clearly I've seen a lot of Galaxy fans are demanding Chris Klein to sell this team, because they are really holding this team back and really kind of treating this team like it was still MLS 1.0 and MLS 2.0 kind of era, when we are clearly moved beyond that. So at the end of the day, I think it is, even though the Galaxy finally fires Schelotto, and I think this is definitely a right step in the direction where the Galaxy are clearly in a transitional period, and that I think maybe this offseason they might think about blowing it up again and trying to sign a couple of players and hope that things will turn around next season. But there's definitely a lot more than the problem with Schelotto not really doing a good job in terms of getting this team competitive, and that there's really a lot more into that, and that we shall see in the upcoming days whether or not, if there's any more changes that is going to go on with the Galaxy. But either way, this is a big off season for them, because you know for a fact that this fan base do not accept the fact of this failure that they had, and they usually don't endure this kind of failure that they've been have to kind of suffer. I mean, back in 2017 when they won the wooden spoon and finished dead last in the table, you can clearly see a lot of Galaxy fans was frustrated by that. But I think now, seeing this happen again, and that I've already kind of heard about some Galaxy fans have even said this is even more frustrated than what happened in 2017, because in 2017 it was clear that the talent was not there and they were going through a bit of a transitional period. Now they actually have the talent in their team, and yet somehow in some way all these talent that they have on this team, and yet somehow in some way they still aren't able to get themselves over the line and potentially compete for MLS Cup, is definitely a very, very tragic things to kind of see. So we shall see what are they going to kind of do in this offseason, and that I expect there's going to be some big changes that's going to happen with this team in the offseason, besides them just firing Schelotto today, as they of course officially announced. But let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this? Galaxy fans, do you think this is a right step into a direction where they're definitely going for a transitional period once again? But yeah, let me know in the comments below, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.